Welcome, curious hearts who crave the secrets that hide behind red carpets and camera flashes. Tonight on Turkish series Stars, we open a chapter that many thought belonged to fiction, yet beats with the pulse of real life. This is not idle chatter shared over coffee, it is a slow-burn chronicle of jealousy, longing, and strategy, played by people who learned long ago that every glance can become a headline. The new year didn't just arrive with fireworks and whispered resolutions. It carried a storm front across Istanbul, one that could redraw the romantic map for two of the most magnetic figures in Turkish showbiz. At the eye of that storm stands the luminous Alina, whose recent calm smile has stirred more questions than any public statement. And stepping into her orbit with deliberate, self-assured steps is Navruz, a presence so composed it feels like a challenge. Somewhere in the background, a familiar silhouette from Alina's private past shifts with restless energy, as if the turning of the calendar has awakened something no one wants to name. Is this the birth of a new story or the rekindling of a Cold War fought in silence and subtext? Your sanctuary for thoughtful gossip, Turkish series Stars, is ready to trace every line of this triangle of hearts. Before we unspool the thread, a heartfelt invitation. If you value narration that respects complexity, analysis that treats public figures as human beings with messy interior lives, subscribe to Turkish series Stars. Turn on notifications so our deep dives find you first. And if you'd like to carry the torch with us and step inside the circle where extra details and careful context live, hit the join button now. Your support makes it possible to analyze what others rush past. Settle in, lower the noise of the outside world, and lean closer. Istanbul's most precarious triangle deserves your full attention. It began the way everything that matters in this industry begins, a rumor that refuses to die. As the last champagne flutes were cleared and New Year lights dimmed, whispers threaded their way through members-only rooftops and behind velvet ropes. There was talk of an unusual closeness, a magnetic pull between Alina and Navruz that was sensed rather than staged. No explosive photos. No declarations. Just the kind of intimacy that reveals itself in how two people occupy a corner at an event and make the crowd feel far away. Witnesses accustomed to reading celebrity body language reported an atmosphere that hummed. It wasn't the casual cordiality of colleagues crossing paths, it had the quiet intensity of a shared language with no translator. What followed could be called coincidences only by the most generous among us. Backstage exchanges that lasted a little too long. Exits from the same venue separated by minutes, as if the wind could carry one breath into the other. Schedules that appeared to bend until they touched. And then there was the change in Alina herself. The sharpest observers, those who can tell a performance from a confession with a single glance, noted something new around her, soft, unforced, almost luminous. A serenity that often accompanies the first chapter of something delicate. The smile that wouldn't wipe away was read as a sign, and signs are never ignored for long. As for his posture told its own story, unhurried, unbothered, as if content to let speculation run while he breathed in the eye of the storm. He looked like a man who holds a winning hand and sees no need to slam it down. But fame is a universe governed by its own physics, and every move draws a countermove. The reverberation came from the direction everyone expected yet dreaded to acknowledge. The man who used to be the center of Alina's private world. He stayed unnamed in gossip threads, yet perfectly identifiable in the collective memory, a figure built from old interviews and shared looks that audiences still replay at midnight. When the murmurs about Alina and grew too loud to ignore, he lit up his social media with a string of images that left no one indifferent. There he was, the body honed to near sculpture, strength on display like a thesis statement. Beneath one of those photos, a caption that slammed like the closing of a door, "I don't quit. Not now, not ever." Out of context, it could be motivation. In this context, commentators on Turkish series Stars read it as a message posted in the direction of two people, the woman who once mattered more than fame itself, and the man who is now standing too close to her sunlight. Is he simply focused on his grind, or did those rumors bruise him more than his armor admits? Sources who've traveled near his circle speak of a restlessness, a stare that lingers a shade too long on a certain Instagram grid, a tightening jaw that betrays a storm he won't name. His curated feed, populated with grit and determination, is being interpreted as a territorial marker. I'm still here. Don't write me off. The subtext is thick enough to touch. And so the public splits themselves into amateur analysts, measuring every shadow for meaning. Let's pause and ask you, are Turkish series stars family? Can an ex, no matter how incandescent the breakaway, still feel jealousy years later? Is a caption just a caption, or is it a chess move disguised as self-help? Is Alp a genuine new chapter for Alina, a calmer sea after years of weather, or an interlude that inevitably points back to the past? Share your reading of the psychology in the comments. And if the depth of this analysis feels like home, show it some love with a like, and consider becoming a member by tapping join. You help us keep the lights on and the research unflinching. As threads heated up online, publicists for Alina Boz and Alp Navruz reached for the oldest and most elegant strategy on the shelf: silence. No denials. No evaporating the spark with a hastily typed "we're just friends." Just stillness. The absence of sound, ironically, amplifies the narrative, and every hour without a statement grows a fresh vine of speculation. Silence in this business is not emptiness, it is a choice. By refusing to shut the door or fling it open, Alina allows curiosity to build and keeps her name living at the top of every timeline. Insiders whisper that she's used this rhythm before: let time do the talking, keep the fragile thing, if it's there at all, out of the harsh beam of labels. Alp's side appears attuned to the same frequency. No clumsy posts. No overcorrection. Just an elegant refusal to play defense. Meanwhile, the dots keep arranging themselves, matching pins dropped on maps, overlapping days on production calendars, shared frames that appear and then vanish as quickly as they arrived. Their silence is a canvas the public is painting on, and neither of them seems inclined to wipe it clean. The fallout on social media is seismic. Alina's followers have split into two camps that refuse to share a bridge. The romantics of the past, those who believe certain stories resist their endings, stare at old footage and see prophecy. For them, every rumor about Alp feels like an intrusion on an unfinished poem. And then there are the forward-lookers, who argue that a woman has the right to lose herself in new laughter, to leave the echo of what was and build fresh rooms with different windows. They gaze at Alp and see steadiness, a chance at quiet, a possibility less turbulent than legends tend to be. Comment sections become battlegrounds. One side insists that some loves take the long way home, the other counters that doors lock for a reason and that healing means choosing different scenery. Every photo Alina posts becomes evidence. Fans zoom in on her jewelry, cross-reference locations, measure the curves of her smile against last month's. The public imagination has become its own detective agency. As for the unnamed ex, his content has sharpened. The gym shots, the relentless sweat, the grit of controlled exhaustion, this is the wordless language of dominance. It's a display designed to communicate vitality, edge, relevance. Whisperers in our world say the message is simple: don't forget what I bring to the room. By appearing in peak form precisely when talk of another man gathers speed, he yanks himself into the same sentence as Alina and Alp, even from miles away. Some call it immaturity, others call it cunning. Either way, the effect is measurable. Once again, he becomes a character in a story he no longer authors. Now, the juiciest leak: there is sudden talk of an event, a gala, a premiere, an award night glittering with lenses. Where Alina Boz and Alp Navruz are on the guest list, and where the man from her yesterday may also appear if schedules permit. The possibility alone has the industry breathless. Will they meet eyes? Will a greeting land like a headline? Will the air freeze for a fraction of a second that camera shutters can turn into eternity? If this alignment happens, it could provide the crescendo this real-life drama deserves. For now, everyone holds their positions. Alina, in a cocoon of quiet light. Alp, an island of composed intent, the X, broadcasting thunder from a steel-clad fortress. And anyone who knows this game knows that calm is almost always the chapter right before the twist. Dear Turkish series stars family, before we draw this thread to a knot, thank you for making this channel the haven where celebrity stories are told with care and intensity. If you haven't joined our membership yet, you're missing private reports, translated fragments from primary sources, and context that others avoid sharing. Press join to help keep our voice independent so we can continue bringing you the angles that matter before they go mainstream. Your membership keeps the algorithms at bay and protects this space from shortcuts. As we close the file, temporarily, on the Alina Alpa shadow triangle, one truth lingers like perfume in a quiet room. Nothing is resolved. What exploded as a New Year whisper has evolved into a saga of strategies, feelings still raw at the edges, and a public hungry for symbols. Is Alp the future and the past merely a closed door, or is Alp a chapter that leads to a different ending than anyone expects? Is the unnamed man in the background a lesson already learned, or a test still waiting? Time will answer, as will the next post, the next double-tapped hint, the next pause long enough to read. While they hide and seek with their hearts, Turkish series stars will be here, holding a light to every unswept corner of this tender maze. If this journey through love, ego, and reinvention gripped you, don't leave without liking and sharing so our community grows stronger and more thoughtful. Subscribe for the next exclusive. And once more, consider becoming a member by pressing join. Your support keeps the flame alive. Until we meet again, the stage is set, the actors are poised, and we're in the front row, watching for the slightest shift of the heart.